transparency and to make sure the board knows, we've discussed a little bit about possible traffic revisions on Highway 101 and Broadway intersection, and I think this is an indicator that that is coming at some point.
They send that to all the adjacent, right?
I saw them out there. I was hoping they were working on my crosswalk. Letter from SEPRD regarding shutdown.
So that's just a communication sent to all of our patrons regarding shutdown, which starts in a few days here. And it's fairly standard for what our communication pattern has been. And we have copies available at the front desk and some on social media, on our website, of course. And I think our instructors and staff have done a good job of making sure patrons know we are not offering a reciprocal membership this year because our shutdown is planned to take only 2 weeks. But we do know and have communicated with our neighbors to the north and south that they will arrange insurance benefit program participants opportunities to recreate there under the same conditions that they have at our pool and facilities, and also taking some steps to relocate fitness programs to either the SRC or to here, so that our dry land fitness classes can continue.
I gotta say, despite the fact that just what you said, people were being told, it was being announced, it was, you're shutting down.
Yeah.
I won't be able to go to the pool. And so I walked out and I got the letter, which there was still a stack.
Yeah.
And I handed it to her. And then I said to the other person, did you hear we're being shut down? Well, why are you being shut down? Here.
Here's the list.
And I just think it's like, what are we not doing?
I don't know if it's on the reward. That's a great question for me to investigate.
On the whiteboard when you walk in, yeah, it's there.
People are saying no,
Okay.
but maybe it should be.
Yeah.
People say yes.
Isaiah, do you know how to do that?
I sure do.
Okay. Maybe we can
Just a
put
thought.
that up tomorrow as a reminder. Yeah.
Okay, anything else on that?
No.
Moving right along. We are recognizing Betty, is it Barbic?
Barbic.
As our October Employee of the Month. Betty Barbic has been an asset to the district for the past 2 years, consistently demonstrating a strong work ethic and dedication to her role and patrons. This year, after transitioning to the community center, she has truly elevated her customer service to new heights. Betty's warmth, attention to detail, and proactive approach have greatly enhanced the experiences of patrons, making everyone feel welcomed and valued. In addition to her exceptional customer service, Betty has also revitalized popular programs like senior movies and bingo, bringing them back with impressive participation. Her commitment to providing great service and engaging programming has not only contributed to the positive atmosphere within the center, but has also set a standard for excellence, leaving a lasting impression on our patrons. Thank you, Betty.
What role is she in?
She's a patron relations specialist.
Is she the lady?
She is. She moved over to the community center a few months ago, and she's like Catherine was reading. She's done an excellent job. She wanted to be here tonight, but she's had a long day, and she actually left a little bit before the meeting, not feeling well.
Well, I mean.
If you come here, she's generally here 9 to 5 at the center, and yeah. Great.
I've interacted with her for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
She was gonna leave, I was like, no, please don't leave, and then she didn't leave. I cannot say enough positive things about her, and I'm very grateful that she is still with us and that she's a valued employee, and I'm grateful to know her.
Approval of board meeting minutes from September 24th, 2024.
Look over those minutes. I'm sorry I missed that meeting.
I missed the meeting this one.
It's okay, the important people are here.
The competent ones were here.
Well, it's so interesting, it's like, oh my gosh, if I was here, but I moved.
We did ask, we're like, are we gonna have a quorum?
Yeah, we were wondering, but I move that we accept the board meeting minutes from September 24th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kyle. All in favor, signify aye. Opposed, nay. Kyle?
Let's see.
Sue?
Aye.
Mike?
I abstained.
Celeste?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Review financials from September 2024.
while you're reviewing, I'm just gonna get ready for our presentation. So, bear with me here.
Have any comments, any?
I have,
Oh,
I
Okay,
have
go to-
questions, I mean, I didn't get to meet
Go
with
fast.
them. All right, number one, on
Alright.
the why do we have a Cannon Beach Chamber of Commerce, Bill?
Something we've done even before I had started. It's just one that we've had, you might have more of an
Yeah,
answer
we have
about.
a membership
Well,
with
yeah.
them, and it's to maintain a strong relationship with that community, get some discounts on advertising that we might do in some of their publications. So it's just it's a membership like we have with the Seaside Chamber.
So are we part of the Astoria Chamber of Commerce?
We are not right now, yeah, but that's, they have the Astoria, Warrenton area Chamber of Commerce, it's kind of a combined chamber up there.
Right.
We do have relationships, but we don't have a membership with that one. Something we could explore,
I think
if the
we
board,
should.
the board would like us to.
I mean, I thought, you know, if we're doing Cannon Beach, why not expand and,
Well, if our long-term goal is
Right.
to redraw our organizational boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we ought to have a presence in place to do it.
that was my thinking.
Yeah.
Okay,
So number two is, the school district, I think the school district thing was like $128. I'm just
Yeah,
curious
it
why.
was, a bill that we got for using their buses because we sold ours, so we used theirs.
For
We
what?
just the school bus. that
For
we
summer?
used. Yeah,
Oh.
one of the
Field trip.
It's
Oh.
just, it's
Okay,
cheaper,
I was
yeah.
just curious if that was related to the Broadway field or
No,
something. And number three was, I'm looking through it. So number three, what I circled was the SDAS, $56,000. Why was it so big?
So that's gonna be a two-part one. One was our October insurance. The other one was they hadn't updated the actual invoices for any of the employees that had kind of switched coverage. And then all of a sudden they updated them and so we had to pay the remainder on those, so that's that part. Yeah, it was kind of a whole process and took a little time
So-
to figure that out.
Which insurances do we purchase from SDIS?
Well, so there's two, so SDIS does our employee insurance on one part.
Health insurance?
Yep, and then we also have, like property and all that.
Yeah.
For,
Casualty insurance,
Yeah,
right?
so they're gonna be, two different pieces.
And my number four was, who's Bowman? Bowman
So
Consulting.
Bowman is actually known also as, SCS, they presented for the SDC. But, Bowman bought them out, so now we have to pay Bowman instead of FCS. It's for the SDCs that you guys had
What's
met with.
SDC?
The
System
system
development
development charge.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just, there's,
That's
The
my
company
favorite.
changes.
That's my,
Yeah.
that's my favorite area.
Thank you.
Oh, wait till you get to urban renewals.
all right,
Dated breath.
feeling good now, Sue?
Well, that area.
Oh, no more.
Well,
oh,
what I wanted to know, okay, looking at, on the budget, with special events for year-to-date, do we need to change that for next year?
no, what we had talked about is a lot of that, you're talking about the revenue, right?
Yes,
Yeah, 'cause, there were two of our, sponsors that they request to pay literally July 1st, because that's what
They
they're.
pay for the whole year.
Yeah, they pay for all their sponsorships up front, so it ends up tapering off and balances
It's the
out.
balance.
Yeah, we have two, and the two of them are our biggest sponsors too, so it's just pretty much, here's all our money up front, and then you're good for the year.
That's
And
why,
it-
that'd be
And
like.
Joey
And you
really
also
likes
have
to get
so,
money.
yeah.
I'd rather have the money.
Yeah.
well, and
Possibly, no.
when are the taxes due in?
They just started trickling in. We
Okay.
just got one more payment, and then it's usually between 12th and the 14th-ish, it's when you start seeing the really big chunks come in of November. So yeah, we did just get two payments for this month, so it's starting to trickle in.
All right, do you have a motion?
Move.
Second, Anyone? Thank you. All in favor signify aye, opposed nay. Kyle?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Mike?
All right.
Celeste? Celeste?
Are you waiting with, sorry, my internet's freezing,
Motion
yeah.
to approve financials. Aye, motion carries, and we're right back on time. Aaron, go.
Okay, wow, no pressure.
No pressure.
We kind of told me to draw this out as long as I
I did.
We always like talking to you. That is adorable.
This felt like I needed to be.
I have one question.
Yes.
Has to do with, why,
Is there?
Give me there's no clicker, but
Okay,
just
you're just gonna.
Skylar is your
Give-
cooker.
give me the
Point
nod
it
or
out.
finger and we'll go.
Okay.
Sue?
I'm good, yes?
Hey, tomorrow, swing by my office and I'll show you the actual thing that.
It's just.
Thank you, Chris.
You got it.
All right, go Aaron.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks so much for letting me be here tonight. This is probably a little shorter presentation because I just wanted to highlight some fun stuff that we did this last year. So, just a few snippets from different areas of our programming, some things that I just felt like were kind of worth highlighting. For our infant and toddler program, we've really been working to improve our structure and engagement within the classroom, but also finding some ways to enhance and provide enrichment outside of the classroom. So toddler story time with Marianne at the library, her coming to visit us, but probably the biggest thing that I've been most excited about is bringing our toddlers over for kinder swim. It's been pretty awesome to see that once a week. Preschool, last year we took quite a few field trips. We went to the pumpkin patch, we went to the Lightheiser farm. We also took our future kindergartners up to Pacific Ridge to just really work on building that relationship and getting our kiddos ready, creating those, relationships with kindergarten staff and Ms. Wozniak up there. Preschool graduation was a hit this year, as always. Grooving into kindergarten is our theme. After school has been going really well this last year and continuing this year as well, but we've had a lot of support from other people to make that happen. We've had our Nike volunteers. We had Coach James, our fitness coach, come in a couple days a week to do some gym activities with our kiddos and just kind of expand some of their programming. We also kind of started a new program last year, our junior counselor program, which we've been able to offer to some of our kiddos that have grown out of the program but are still wanting to help. It's something that Zoe and I are working on really fine-tuning some more. But I feel like with the district, that is one thing that I really notice is, growing our staff really from here to here, and I love it. And so it's just something that we want to keep focusing on. This is probably my biggest highlight, I think, from the last year, and just I feel like something that I feel pretty accomplished about. This is probably one of our best summers that I feel like we've ever had, and partly because we started planning for summer back in December. So figuring out what our themes were going to be, figuring out our field trips, and budgeting what that looked like. Transportation is one of those big pieces without having buses. So how much is it going to cost us to go to the zoo? How much is it going to cost us to take a group to Haystack? So we worked really hard to figure out those numbers, to crunch those numbers, and implemented that into our registration process. So when parents are registering, there was a little fluctuation in prices to accommodate some of those things, but nothing that was astronomical. I think parents were really happy. I think kids were extremely happy. We might have been a little crazy taking preschool and our after-school kids, or that age group, to the zoo. But we made it, and we survived, and it was great. We had OMSI come out. We took our preschoolers to Bruce's Candy Kitchen. So it was a rockin' summer. I can't wait for this next year. And
How come I never had any summers like that?
Oh, my gosh.
That looked awesome.
Just a few other memorable moments across youth programs in general. Our Week of the Young Child, which we celebrate every year. Our Family Friday. So the way that it works is that that week, each day is a specific theme, and Friday is always Family Friday, and we really struggled to come up with something unique this year, but we came up with the idea of inviting our parents to come swim with us. It kind of gives me goosebumps to think about. It was just an awesome opportunity, and we had such a great turnout, so much fun. Teacher Appreciation Week, this is something that I feel very passionate about because I know that my staff are really the core of the programs that we provide, so I wish we could celebrate them every week like we do, during Teacher Appreciation Week, but, we really hit it hard. And we had a lot of local businesses that provided goodies and treats and, things, so it was a lot of fun, so. Lastly, we, right at the end of the summer, as we transitioned into this fall, we had Corporal Gagnon come in and do a training for us. And he highlighted just 3 main areas for us. One was recognizing and reporting child abuse and neglect. This is something that our staff are already trained on, but this gave us an opportunity to ask him questions, kind of get a bigger picture of the whole process, ask him some of those what-if things. We also talked about safety restraint laws, because believe it or not, we've had, parents that'll try and get their kids in a car without a car seat. Just kind of talking through that process with him, and there's always a lot of gray area with that, so. And then lastly, talking through safety with pickup. So if we have a parent trying to pick up that's not okay to pick up, if we have someone that's trying to pick up that might be impaired or not able to transport a child safely. So all good, really good conversations, not easy conversations to have, but definitely a beneficial training and something that I think we're going to be doing year round.
Karen?
Yeah.
Is that, whatever the scale, is that something like available as a handout?
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually something I took specifically from his presentation that he gave us. But yeah, we could easily make copies of that.
I would like to
On
have
the scale, those are ages?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this is just a little bit about, the numbers of our attendance last year. And, in talking with Justin over my presentation, we realized I probably should have shown you guys just registration as far as, instead of our average attendance, because we're gonna have kids that are absent, we're gonna have kids that are out, and so it makes our numbers look a little bit lower. But this is just a little bit of a piece of kind of what last year looked like.
So the total attendance of almost 14,000 people, how many of those are unique individuals? Are there 200 people in the program that come back over and over and over again?
Read that,
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
I just got a new glasses.
So what is your registration for
Yeah.
these programs?
so I'll just kind of to give you an idea of what last year looked like. So our infant and toddler program was, 9 kiddos, so five toddlers and 4 infants. Our preschool program between both of our 2 classrooms was 23 kiddos. The preschool aftercare was 15, which is our max, so that was completely full. Our after-school program was at 40, which is our max. And then, with summer camp, there's a lot of variance because it's a week-to-week registration instead of a month-to-month registration. So we had, probably 20 plus kiddos that were registered for each week, but those were kind of the numbers that you would see that would fluctuate.
That's awesome.
So, I'm sorry, I somehow missed something in your question before we talked about summer camp. So, was it something about the 76, I heard you say out of almost 14,000, and then I
was trying to figure out how many unique individuals are attending this thing, and so obviously the 14,000, that's the same kids
Right.
going over and over. So then I asked, what is the registration under average attendance daily, and she went through, and it's 1 or 2 kids above what's on the list there. So basically probably 80 registration for the summer, 80 or a little more. So, I mean, that's pretty good.
I mean, because aren't we at capacity?
It depends on the program, but for a majority of our programs.
1% of the population of Seaside.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So just to take a peek at a few numbers, so I wanted to share kind of our fee kind of restructuring, part of which was part of a directive from you guys in terms of kind of how we display our in-district and out-of-district fees. And if you're interested, this is the letter that we sent out to parents to kind of explain that a little bit.
I already got my copy.
Did you? Yeah. So the letter kind of explains a little bit about that. It also explains variances, I think, in fees month to month based on school without days, things like that. It gets really complicated for parents if there's no school because of in-service, and do I have to pay an extra $40 for my kiddo to be there for our all-day programming? So we, Justin worked really hard to kind of combine all that together, so there was no variance in the fees month to month, but those days were just included. And I think, with the exception of winter break, because we know that a lot of families don't necessarily utilize winter break because they already have things going on, so we didn't want to extend that, we're doing that a little bit separately. But we've had great response from families, and in terms of how we're presenting the district and the district fees, we've had a lot of families making the choice to buy in because they see the benefit of it, they see the discount, and so I think, yeah, it's been good, great experience in that way. Just to touch on a few of the grants that we've received and how we're using them, and of course Chris isn't here, so I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Niemeyer Foundation was the I'm missing a zero. Was $20,000, and that went to kind of the improvement of our park, so the sandbox and the picnic tables, making that ADA accessible. We've had even staff of the Pacific Ridge asking us about it, wanting to look at potentially putting in a sandbox. So it's definitely been a huge benefit to our program. The LGL Incorporated grant was just a small $500 grant that went specifically to one of our preschool classrooms. We utilized that in a couple different ways with some program supplies, but also to help with some transportation and other items for our field trips. And then the Austin Foundation and the Northwest Regional Classic Child Care Expansion Grant, both of those are for expanding our infant and toddler program. Neither one of them have we spent yet, so we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. And the tough part about the Northwest Regional Classic grant is that it's based, it's contingent upon licensing, and so we have this grant in holding until that licensing happens. So.
What licenses are required?
So just state child care licensing.
Yeah.
So
how difficult is that to get?
It's not too difficult. We aren't able to get licensed until the building reaches an occupancy status from the city that we're working towards. So it's kind of get this done, and then this piece will, there'll be a nice domino effect.
It's a cascade of.
Yeah. But we just haven't. We were licensed previously when the preschool was held in the youth center, what's now what we call the West Wing, and then when we moved over to the SRC, we lost licensing, but we don't necessarily have to have it, but for this grant, in order to expand, that was one of the conditions.
Aaron, can you franchise this? I mean, if we wanted to do, put your program in Warrenton, they'd have to find a facility, whatever, but if we wanted to put your program somewhere else, could we make that work? No, and keeping the one in Seaside. No, I'm not saying get rid of the one in Seaside. I'm saying expand it to other parts, maybe not within the geopolitical boundaries of our district.
Yeah.
And because this is awesome. This is a huge benefit to the community, and I just think it's too awesome not to share.
I think the point for you is that youth programs don't necessarily pay for themselves. So they're being...
That's why we get the grants.
Well, yes. But I mean, they're being offset with the tax dollars because we have all decided that there's a benefit to the community to having these programs for our
Do you
community.
think Warrenton would have the same opinion?
Hopefully.
I think that's a great question. Like, I guess I don't want to speak for Aaron, but from my perspective, I think yes, the programs, the success of the program, the structure, the model that Aaron has utilized could be successful, in its full offering or pieces in other places in the county, and would greatly aid the child care challenge that a lot of families have in our county. I think what we'd have to discuss is like, okay, how does the funding model look for a community that's not necessarily in the district, because we are subsidizing part of the program through the general fund. Right.
But also we're providing the infrastructure, so if some other city or
Yeah.
agency provides the building and the infrastructure and the heat and the parking and all this stuff that we would need, then we can justify charging them in district fee.
Sure. Yeah.
I would also like to share, talking about Aaron's program, that I have, because I'm part of the school district, I have heard firsthand from people that work in the kindergarten program that our kiddos that come from Learning Ladder are the most prepared kiddos for kindergarten.
Oh, we need to have
That's cool.
we need to put that on the
Yeah.
bat scope and shine it up.
And I think Aaron probably wouldn't share this, but I know lots of parents, like Catherine does, that have little kiddos, and some of them have had kiddos transferred to our program, and they talk about the difference in the curriculum and in the environment and in our teachers and the care and like the experience that the kiddos are getting with us. That's different maybe from some of the other places, and I think there's different models that other places are using, so everything, we can't really, it's kind of apples to oranges a little bit, but I think in getting kids kindergarten ready and teaching them kind of behavioral expectations and teaching them like how to, respond to a teacher's voice and all of the things, it's really a beautiful thing to watch the kiddos that we have grow and become kindergarten ready and hit the ground really running when they get to kindergarten. I think it's really awesome.
And I would say, on the flip side of that, also as a parent, knowing that you have a safe space that has that structure, is just invaluable, so.
If we communicate with our neighbors and our adjacent agencies, what have you, they're gonna ask, what do we have to offer? They can still use the pool, it's a bit of a longer drive, they might come down for the football game once in a while. But if we have to respond to what we have to offer, this is what we have to offer, because this is awesome. And
Here we have more to do.
Well, no, it is a huge community benefit.
It is.
I mean, we have kids that are 10 years behind. It's gonna take them 10 years to catch up because of COVID, and we're giving them a head start here.
Yeah, but I do think part of that is you, and I am very grateful for your expertise. I do have a question.
Aaron and franchise with me.
Well, yeah, she just needs to, yeah. I have a question about this letter.
Yeah.
I mean, out of district versus in district, are you seeing a lot of people buy in?
We have had quite a few buy-ins, actually, so, and I think some families just weren't aware of it. Some people they didn't understand the benefit of it, and when we crunched the numbers and looked, that, yeah, within their first month of youth programs, if they're regular families, they're gonna, get that money back really quickly.
So they just pay their tax rate and
So they can bring their.
and join the district on paper,
Yep.
basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a good model for us, as we're shifting our fee structure in January. That's the model that we've seen work really well in youth programs. We're going to try to clone and have the value demonstrated for in-district folks, but share, how easy it is. Just bring your tax statement in. We'll show you what you owe, and then you can pay. You can pay monthly, or you can pay a lump sum at the beginning of the year, and then you're in the district. You get all the benefits of joining, even though you're not necessarily in. Yeah. I think there's one more slide. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So yeah, just some big ideas of what's next. Just continue training for staff and really improving our onboarding process. I think maybe last year when I was here, we talked about the struggles of hiring staff, and that's still a struggle, but maybe not quite as much, but we were so focused on just getting people on the door, getting them in there, and we need to kind of take a step back and really make sure that we're supporting them, and making sure that they're where they need to be. And then plans for program growth. I mean, specifically right now, I think my sights are on the toddler program and the infant program, and moving that forward, along with licensing. I think once licensing happens, we're going to have a lot more funding opportunities, which is great. But yeah, we still have, there's always room to keep on going and moving. Thank you for the time tonight. And I do want to say, I really appreciate all the compliments, but I have to give it back to my team because, you know, some of our staff, especially our preschool teachers, have been here way longer than I have, and they have, you know, put their heart and soul to everything that they do every single day, and I hear those good things too from the school district, and it's amazing to hear, and so I am so thankful to be a part of it, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you, Aaron.
You and your team are awesome. This is a
Tyler,
great
do you know when
program.
the licensing might?
We have to get the occupancy.
Right, but
So as soon as we're done with the fire alarm plan, then we can have a conversation with the city about what are we know there's a list of items that they'd like us to complete before we have full occupancy of the building, but we're not sure if there's an opportunity for us to negotiate or create a timeline for, creating those, you know, getting those changes, those improvements to the building done.
is this going before the planning commission again?
I don't think so. I think this will be staff-led, from the city's perspective, working with,
Fire marshal.
building official and the fire marshal and, planning development director.
So we don't have to deal with, I mean, because we've got an election and a lot of changes for city council, so we don't have to backpedal and go through.
I don't think so. I think,
Erin, you are welcome to go.
yeah. Thank you,
That's a
Erin.
long day for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course.
All right.
Her other set of kids that she has to watch over.
Now I get to go home to my own stuff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Strategic plan document review and update, and we are now 12 minutes behind schedule. Catch right up. Mine has time.
Brandon, are you there?
I'm envious that Celeste got to let her dog out. My dog has been inside since 3.
Took mine, ran home. and-
My dog, I'm so mad at my dog.
And, you would not be jealous if you saw, how that played out too.
Oh, no.
My dog rolled in some dead aquatic animal and smells like week-old sushi. Can't get the smell out.
I can start maybe while Brandon, oh, there he is, okay, sweet. Hi, Brandon. You hear us? Okay, great. So, Brandon, if it's okay if I can kick us off, and then you can, answer questions if the board has them. I don't think this part of the conversation will take a long time. So, Brandon shared the, strategic plan with, us on Sunday, and, shared it all with you electronically, and you now have printed copies.
I appreciate the print.
Yeah, it looks really nice. It's very thorough. I will share and admit that I haven't had an opportunity to fully go through it, as I'm sure you haven't yet either. But what I'd like to do is kind of propose a rough timeline for the next steps in this process, and I have some notes that I want to make sure I refer to correctly.
You said
Yeah, these papers here. There they are. Okay, so what I'd like to do is provide a couple weeks or so for, and Brandon and I worked through this a week or so ago, but provide a couple weeks for staff and the board to review the document and provide some feedback. And I'd like to ask for that feedback to be submitted to me by Friday, the 15th of November, which gives us.
You want a computer email?
Doesn't have to be computer email. We can do it however works for you all. So if you want to mark up the document, get it back to me. If you want to meet with me and we can go through it, like the key things, and I'll share kind of the feedback style that I think would be most appropriate and timely for this. And then that'll give Brandon and his team a week or so to make some adjustments, and then get back to us, and then hopefully, if all goes well, we can adopt the strategic plan at our November meeting, which is scheduled for the 26th. So this is a draft of it's a final draft. It's a completed draft, I guess we'll say, because we've had pieces that I've shared with you. I know, I guess from my perspective, I think it would benefit the efforts of the momentum of the plan to find the grammatical things or the things that stylistically we don't like. I mean, this is a plan that's going to guide the district for 5 to 10 years, right? But for the most part, I think the plan is intact as we need it, content-wise. But we may find grammatical things, we may find pictures that we want changed, stylistically, things like that. So that's the type of feedback I think that we're looking for, knowing that if we have big changes, then we won't be able to adopt, you know, and on that time, which I think is really important. I don't want to lose momentum. You know, we've kind of been delayed a little bit, and that's, that happens with projects of this size, but that's my perspective. Brandon, I don't know if you have anything to add on those lines, or we should open it up to the board for any questions, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think Kylie did a great job as usual, and I just want to reemphasize that, you know, between Scott and I, we're calling it a final draft, which doesn't mean that it's final. So anything that you feel that is missing, and like Scott mentioned, pictures, images, graphics, even content that you are curious about why it may be in there or not be in there, feel free to comment. And the goal is to get your comments back there in a couple of weeks, and then we incorporate it, and hopefully, like Scott said, you can adopt it. There are some appendix items that aren't in here, some graphics that we've kind of created to help facilitate conversations. I can always provide those if needed, you know, like the sketch of the Booner and some of the other things we use in some of the conversations and the programming conversations. But for the most part, I feel like, you know, we have a complete master plan. Some of the initial tasks and items that are, you know, labeled starting in 2024, we're obviously, you know, in October, in a couple of days here in November. So just emphasize that you guys have already started on a lot of that work. So I don't feel like, even though the draft is coming out towards the end of the year, I don't feel like you've missed anything that you've actually started checking boxes. But I feel pretty good about the document, but again, you know, want you all to have some time with it, read through it, provide questions and comments. I think, Kyle, you've been involved in a lot of the meetings. Celeste, you've obviously been a figurehead throughout the process as well, so you guys may be able to answer some questions in the end as well. But again, don't want you to feel like this is completed and we're walking away. The other thing that I would emphasize is with any master plan, any strategic plan, we always suggest that, you know, every 2 years, every 3 years, you kind of pull this thing out of the drawer and make sure it's still aligned with your vision, still aligned with the goals and aspirations of the district, and maybe even, you know, modify it slightly at that point. So, you know, we look at these things as a living, breathing document as you start checking off the tasks and the boxes that, you know, are outlined accordingly.
I disagree with that. You know, this should not be in a drawer. This should be directing our activities. I mean, it should be on Skylar's desk, and he should refer to it, I don't know, every couple days, because this is our plan.
Well, I always say that because I know that these types of things, they're big lifts. You know, some of these projects take lengthy periods of time. Skylar probably already will have it memorized by the end of the year verbatim, and so, you know, he'll know it. But staff and other individuals, you know, they do, at times, there's a risk that they collect dust, just again with some of the lists that we've outlined. So don't take that in the wrong way, and I fully agree. This should guide every decision you guys make when you have a project, when you're looking at programs, when you're looking at, once we actually have full occupancy on the SRC, these things should, you know, guide a lot of those decisions. This thing was supplemented by the highest and best use efforts, some of the early programming stuff that, you know, it's been a couple years since that was done. And if you don't have those documents, you know, Skylar, if they're not at the ready, we can provide those again so you understand the progression that was, you know, has taken place to get to the master plan. But I think we're saying the same thing, Kyle. Don't.
Good.
Don't take.
And it's a strong piece of work, Brandon. Don't get me wrong. You know, I've only just flipped through it, but I know it's going to be.
See, I thought I had to read it by tonight, so I did I got it yesterday, so, I mean.
Overachiever.
No, I didn't know. It was handed to me, and here, review this. So, anyway, Skylar told me, no, you've got a couple of weeks, so I went, oh, thank you, because I didn't finish it. However, one of the things that I point out is is you have to, there's little things that give you confidence in a document. So if you haven't got your, board's name spelled right,
I do like Saxon.
wait, I know, Saxon. I mean, if that's not done, is there something else that's sloppy? And so I don't mean that in any disrespectful tone. It's simply, I am District 2 and Celeste is District 1. I think that's the more important issue because we're up for re-election this year. But, I look at, that's one of the first things you see, and there are 3 mistakes on that page. And so I go, well, what am I gonna trust or not trust in the next pages? Now, I've read a lot of pages that were really, really good, and I didn't see what I saw with another organization. But I just point out that I think the minutia of, making sure something's right, like on the beginning pages, is really important because it leaves an impression. And so that's my comment.
I have a question. So, yeah, Brandon, there are some Scrivener's errors. There's always gonna be in the draft. My question is, do you have a particular style manual that you use, or do we have a particular style manual that we use?
Not for this. I mean, we do for internal, but this, I kind of released, stylistic preferences to the contractors. And let them.
Okay.
So I'm sure they do.
So if I make any, comments about Scrivener's errors, they're just recommendations. If you don't accept them, that's fine. You're not gonna hurt my feelings one bit.
But I think the things
Unless
like,
we change your name.
yeah, like your spelling and Sue's spelling, like those are things that we definitely want to have as tight as possible. And that's why we have, 12 different sets of eyes between our steering committee, the internal staff, and the board that are gonna review.
It should be as accurate as possible. This document will be attached to every grant application we make going forward.
Brandon, so I'm gonna admit that I have not had a chance to look through this, but, the first thing,
Machine?
Just a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I was talking about the style manual, the
Right, I don't know
manual
what
that
that
they
is.
use to determine which is the appropriate brand to use.
my question is, the very first thing that I see off the top of my head is that the pictures on the cover are not of our district. Was there a reason for that? Or, I just feel like if this is what we're gonna be sending with grant applications, this should represent our district. I mean, I would love to have this gym, it looks lovely, but we are not there yet. Or is this like we're shooting for the future, or?
There's a combination of that. When you go through the document, you'll see pictures of the district and different facilities. Things that are more on the recreation side, since, we haven't gone through a revamp or renovation efforts on the SRC, some of the images are, like I said, more inspiration, but we can change that, right? If that doesn't sit right with you, if you want to see, particularly on the cover page, images that are, more reflective of the current conditions, current facilities, by all means. And that is exactly the type of feedback I'd be looking to get. The correcting of what district you're responsible for and the spelling of your name is something that I would have liked to have had correct going to you as a trap. So I'm gonna correct those right now and get that out to Skylar. But the images are just as important as the text. We live in a graphic world, so I think, think through that on your end. If there are images you want to switch around or images you would like to see, amenities, that maybe we didn't capture in the graphics, by all means, that's exactly what I'd like to hear. And I know, Celeste, you had some feedback. I hope you see some of the comments and, suggestions that you had throughout the process. We took a lot of the survey questions and a lot of the, the technical side of the survey. We put that in the attendance. So I'm hoping that, again, you see some of those improvements. But again, this is the final draft, and we're looking for each one of you to voice an opinion. and, comment on those things, by all means.
Thanks, Brandon. For me, I feel like at least on the front page, I would like to see our district. I'm totally fine, with the shooting for the moon, fancy, like, this is what we could be kind of stuff on the inside, because that's what that is, but I feel like, I don't know.
Show the ball field.
Yeah, I mean,
That.
like this
the
bottom
school
picture
district
could
in.
be that cool shot of the whole, district as a whole.
A drone shot of the ball
Yeah.
field.
I don't know.
Brandon, we have, I think we sent some, but we have lots more. We can send more if it's an inventory thing, or, sometimes it's hard to make the pictures fit in the right spaces. But let's touch base on that, and we can add to the inventory that you have if you need more, photos.
Yes.
Well, and I love having the pool on there, but I just think it should be our pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at those pictures of those ladies and I went, I don't recognize them.
Well, it's not just them, it's just the back,
But see,
that's
a
not
lot
our
of these inside
facilities.
pictures are
Yeah.
ours.
Which is
So
great.
that is great.
Yeah, we have.
I look forward to reading it. This looks like, I know how much work went into this, and I am excited for the finish line to be within reach and, not have to sit in a drawer.
Yeah, well, maybe sports place was in my heart to begin with, but, definitely,
I'm
And
just
again,
looking at Kyle.
What's your opinion? I will need some help on some of the images, because my stock is limited, we've only made so many trips, and I know you guys do tons of events, tons of programs. So again, if there's things you wanna see between Skylar and I, we can get those graphics and images in there, we can shift things around, so. And I can't reassure you more that I've got thick skin, I've been doing this for a long time, so I'd rather hear from you the things you don't like, the shortcomings, and where you want us to make it better. That is the important part.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon.
Strong
Yeah,
work, Brandon.
Yeah, we appreciate, at least I appreciate the partnership we've had with you over the last however long.
Forever.
I know.
Seems
It's been a long, drawn effort, I can fully admit. I know Skylar was receiving some pressure, he was putting pressure, on the consultants group. But I think like you said, we see the finish line in sight, we just want to get it right.
Yeah.
So, bleed on it, comment through it, make sure that the images resonate with the task, like, one of the major goals, major lists is to address the pool, and we're calling for a new aquatic facility, so showing what current contemporary facilities are, I think is appropriate. We just maybe need to think through where those images appear in the actual document itself.
Yeah. I agree.
And if you'd like some of the other, the content that came out of the, not necessarily content, but like we provided some graphic examples, some visionary things. If you'd like to see those, again, between Skylar and I, we can get those to you. We can add those in as different appendix items, and we can shift the whole document around. If we have missed the mark in any shape or form, I want to know, and we want to make it right, because you should be able as a district to get a lot of mileage out of it.
Well, one of the questions I have is, the nice glossy pictures that are in the pamphlet that we have thousands of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a stock that we could send him?
Yep, and that's what we were just talking about. I think we did at one point send some, but maybe we need to send some more, or maybe now that we've seen the document, we can choose some of the photos that we want, to more, I guess, represent like where we're at.
Great to see, some of the Hispanic events we've had, Latinx, and some of the pictures of those multicultural things,
Sure.
and think DEI,
Yeah.
we want to be very inclusive.
I would agree that now that we kind of have the document, I think it's easier to kind of like, we could put one of those cool pictures there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a little easier, so we'll work on that here in short order.
All right. So November 15th, comments back to Skylar?
Yep.
Okay.
So pay your property tax and talk to Skylar.
Perfect.
All on the same day.
8 hours.
All right, thanks,
Thank you,
Brandon.
Brandon, appreciate,
Yeah.
thanks for staying around a little bit extra.
Bye, Brandon, have a good one.
Will they give me
Good seeing
another?
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, project, fire alarm update, ready, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Hi.
go rapid
Go fast.
fire. We're, after a little bit of temporary delays, the work is continuing at a pretty good pace now in the SRC. The gym work was completed last week. We had the gym shut down for pickleball and other programs, but they got it done. I know, but they got it done, in a week, and that's really great.
So the holes patched up.
A couple of holes still patched up, or a couple of holes still remaining, but,
Okay.
yeah. The outstanding areas are the cafeteria and kitchen, and then I believe the boiler room is still outstanding. That's kind of a challenge that they were working through. But the plan is to finish device work and have the system tested the 18th through the 22nd of November, and then hopeful, final completion, sign off, done the week, of Thanksgiving or the week after. So, we are really happy about that. Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of Broadway Field, a short update here. I think I shared pictures and things over the last few months. I don't have any of those because the project's substantially completed. There's still a couple of punch list items that have been finished this week. A leaky sink, locks have been installed. We're doing some work on the technology of the new crow's nest in softball. Isaiah's helping out with a lot, and then also some school district resources. Our maintenance staff did a wonderful job over the last week or two of cleaning up the area around the skate park entrance. So if you go into the park from that side, which most of the folks do, like when they're going to a soccer or football game, you'll see that part. That entrance has been cleaned up. We've gotten, gotten rid of some of the excess turf that we had that we don't anticipate needing, and stored some of the other spaces. We're waiting on some storage facilities that are being built by the Seaside High School construction class, which is really cool. We lost a little bit of storage, but over the course of terms 1, 2, and 3 this year in the construction class, the construction teacher at the high school is actually helping the students build storage facilities that will house some of the turf repair items that we have, our gator, things like that. So that's really kind of a cool project. It's taken a little bit longer than it maybe would if we hired it out, but these students will have an impact in constructing these storage facilities, and they'll get hauled down here, and then we'll be able to use them for the spaces that we are missing. I did want to share on November 19th, if you want to note that date, if you'd like to attend, we've been invited, or I guess I've been invited, but I'm including the board to be invited. It's a school board meeting night, but they are going to be celebrating the softball field completion at their meeting at 6 p.m. and it's in the Seaside Middle School, High School Library, which I think is on the floor that you enter in if you enter from the east side of the building.
What's the date of that?
The 19th at 6 p.m.
Are we gonna do any sort of dedication?
We are, yeah, in the
Ribbon
spring.
cutting?
Yeah, in the spring, we had those conversations, and the school district wanted to wait until the spring when they have a softball game so that they can kind of dedicate the field, maybe on the first softball game that they have the field open for.
Do you get to throw out the first pitch?
No, I don't. I wasn't asked, but I will say no.
Well, I was just thinking, I wonder what would be an appropriate, who's the gal that filed the lawsuit? She should throw out the first pitch.
I don't think they do a first pitch. I was just throwing it out there to be snarky.
Or maybe a ribbon cutting or a
Yeah.
ceremony of some sort.
I
think
think
it'd be
social
sure.
of some kind?
Yeah.
So is that at 6 o'clock? or-
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll remind you of that date as we get closer to it.
It's the week, isn't it always the week before ours, because we moved
Yeah,
ours?
it's the Tuesday before ours.
Yep, because we moved ours because it was all the same night.
The systems development charges, you heard a little bit about, financing that plan, but we are waiting, actually, this is one of the pieces that we're waiting on for that. So now that we have the master plan, we'll be able to proceed to the next steps. We wanted to make sure that our consultants had that plan and see which parts of that plan qualified for certain parts of the SDC process and not have to duplicate those efforts. So that was one of the, there's many reasons why we're looking forward to getting the plan done, and that's one of them. Traffic impact analysis is the other project. I want to share that that study has been conducted. It was done covertly. I actually never saw the traffic, things out, but, I know that they were here and the data was conducted. The, company that we hired confirmed that, and we expect that it'll be about a 4 to 6 week process before they have, some of that data ready to share with us.
Well, and I think in our last meeting, we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
They really were gonna accept these weird off
Yeah.
times and.
Yeah.
Yep, ODOT said that it was acceptable.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yep. Okay, just moving on to new business, I have a memo with some of this information, but wanted to kind of, I know it's early, but I feel like this kind of catches me by surprise sometimes. But I wanted to share, worked with Chris a little bit on this, making sure we were square on our budget committee kind of timeline for that work to begin in the spring, and also election information. Again, we'll meet in November, but won't meet in December, and by the time we meet in January, budget committee work will have already begun in earnest. We anticipate that we'll have only one, hopefully, vacancy on the budget committee. Jamie Bingham, her term expired, and she said that she was okay, or chose not to renew as a budget committee member. The other 4 have indicated a preference for coming back. So shared a little timeline, and what I'm really asking for, if you look above that line, we'd encourage the board, and you have some time, a month or so, or more, to think about this, but what can we do as an organization to improve the budget process? I'm not asking for your budget priorities necessarily, but how can we make the process, our meetings, more engaging? How can we make the format, how can we improve the format to make the budget more digestible, comprehensible for the general public? Is there improvements that we can make? I think we have an obligation to make sure that we're not just doing things the way that we've always done them, I think, and how can we make this process better and get more people engaged and involved, make more people aware of the process that we're going through.
I think one thing that would be helpful is in our budget message, if we had just a section near the front that said what's changed.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, we gotta pay the lights, you gotta pay the lawyers, you gotta pay that stuff every year, no matter what.
Yeah.
But there's some things like maybe it's
That are different.
the fields, you know, middle school, or whatever it is, say that up in the beginning, and then that tells your audience where to go look for the changes, so they don't have to flip through the
Sure.
entire
I
document.
think that's really smart. I like that.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Sorry to be the voice from the TV, but I do think.
Would you tell us the weather for tomorrow?
Wet.
As long as you're on TV?
All right.
So when do we wanna recruit?
Yeah, so that, I shared kind of the timelines that we've usually worked on. So we post that budget committee vacancy at the end of the month in January, and then it would be open for a month, maybe even 5 or 6 weeks. And the board would ideally do budget committee interviews with the candidates at the March meeting, or before the March meeting, either before the regular session or like a week before or something, and then appoint that person at the March meeting so that we can meet as a budget committee in April.
So it'd be a little bit early to talk to somebody on Friday.
I don't think it necessarly would, but
It's a bug in their ear.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I didn't know who I
plain
wanna
lucky,
talk to.
as we say, yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
all right.
kind of on the same, kind of related, kind of not. I included it in one memo, but you all know about this, but we have 3 directors whose terms are expiring in about 8 months or so, and just wanted to make sure they were aware of that and share a couple of dates for the timeline. So March 20th, I believe, is the first day for candidates to file. Looking on the county website, they don't have that date actually posted, but on the Oregon Secretary of State page, that's what I could find. The county dates may differ slightly, and then election day for that cycle is May 20th. So for the 3 directors would,
So I thought I was District 2.
well, this is according to our website, so I think this is accurate.
Cause I thought it was Celeste versus so-and-so and me versus Al, and I came second.
Yeah, I can't recall that, I can double check with the county, but this is what we have on the website, which
It's weird, because there's no real district or ward.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's
But
no real LR, she's right.
yeah.
But I've never, I know I wasn't number one, or I would've remembered that.
You're number one for us.
I was gonna say, you're number one in my book.
Gosh, Kyle. So funny.
Anyhow, just keep that in mind, like I said, it has a tendency, I think, to sneak up on folks, and as we get into the new year soon, crazily enough, it'll be here before we know it, so.
Just gonna try and find it really fast, so that's not working. Okay,
I think that's it for new business. I guess we're on to
Cool.
the executive director report, so yeah, a few updates here. Efforts being made on the goals, we're working on that new fee schedule, again, with hopes to implement in January. In terms of the facility goals that you, all set, or we set together, there's been great improvement, or, great efforts on the, Broadway field and on strategic plan. Another area that I feel like I'm investing a lot of time in is our organizational culture and some of the key results there. So, I'll continue to kind of share updates on that and on our progress in this area. Other reports for me, so, yeah, attended, 2 conferences over the last month. Really beneficial for networking and education, great sessions, got some really good ideas of some things I'd like to, implement, for SEPRD. Obviously, I think it's been alluded to a little bit, but I had a little mishap in Atlanta, but I'm doing fine, and I can give you more details on that, not in a public meeting, but, glad to be okay. The next thing that we had on here was the Oregon Government Ethics Commission training. So you'll remember this is a new training required by the Secretary of State, and they finally have made that training available for public officials. So you have a couple of options. The training is available on the Secretary of State website. So you can go on there and complete the training if you choose. What I would encourage you to do is hold for just a little bit. It's not a requirement by the end of the year. They basically nullified the requirement for 2024. We anticipate that it'll be a requirement for 2025. But I expect special districts to work with the Oregon Government Ethics Commission to create a training that will be available for special districts boards and maybe have some specific application to us as a special district rather than local government. And I'll share more details about that, but I would expect that there'll be opportunities for us to go to a conference or setting like that, an educational session, or do it online, or have somebody come here to the coast and maybe help us like Bob did. So a little bit of information, but not enough, probably. A little recap of meetings and things like that. We had the Fall Fun Fest on October 19th. It was, I don't know if anybody made it.
upcoming, this one.
Oh, sorry, just wanted to share the upcoming training opportunity in Bend for Special Districts Conference. It's at the River House, February 6th through 9th. So if you're interested in attending, again, special districts, I think it's pretty hard to match the value of the conference and the education sessions. I think this year is in Bend, and I think next year is back in Seaside. So
I would go just to see that gal from Alton Valley, I think, give her presentation on grant writing.
Oh, yeah. That
Oh,
was awesome.
she was unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now Fulton.
Okay, sorry, so yeah, like I said, were you there?
Yeah.
I thought I saw your car maybe, but I didn't see you. It was awesome. We had the SRC completely decked out. We were able to utilize the cafeteria and both gyms, and if you walked around, they were all busy. I'm sorry to share this, but I didn't know that we had a fog machine or a smoke machine, but that was quite effective at creating a Halloween-y environment in the hallway and gyms.
I may have suggested we turn it down.
It was a tiny bit overwhelming to me too. I think we were maybe experimenting with it, but it was really cool.
There were a lot of people coughing.
Zoe
when they
said
first
that we
cranked it up.
had over 600 attendees at that event, and this is the first year that we've Yeah, well, this is the first year that we spread out, this is also the first year that we've charged, we typically would have either a small charge or canned food and donate the food to the food bank, but this year we said it's $2 to get in. People could bring food and we would donate it, but it's still $2 to get in. But it didn't seem to hamper our attendance in any way.
Did we construct the sound disco DJ booth thing that was rolling around?
So that was actually donated to the district by a Remax Realty office in Deer Heart that was closing. They called us and asked, this was probably a year or two ago, called and asked if we could use any of their office furniture, and they donated that and some other stuff to us. We are saving that in hopes of maybe that can be our recreation entrance desk.
Oh, okay.
At the,
I thought it was a great,
yeah.
like, party booth.
It is really great. Yeah, it's a nice setup, and that we got it for
Free.
3 years is a great thing too.
You didn't like it?
Can I kind of comment on
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of that equipment, so we got like desks and a lot of other tables and stuff. And yeah, so Darren and I actually did build that out of other pieces that they did donate.
Oh, okay.
So
we
yeah,
actually-
it
we
looks
actually
very
built that.
custom.
Yeah, and so we kind of
Of course it was there.
customized it to our needs and
Well, so what I was gonna say is I think that's an opportunity, cause I walked into the main gym there and I saw that and I saw our lights and our music and our speakers and I was like, why doesn't the school rent this for dance? Or like, it was really cool. I think there's some opportunity. That's fine, but I think that should be like advertised on our website that like, hey, we have these cool things, you can hold a party here.
Yes, and when we have the all clear from,
I know.
we'll definitely do that. Yeah.
Okay. Shutdown.
Shutdown, you heard about it, you know what's coming, you got the letter, I'm not gonna elaborate, but just, if you hear other patrons that aren't aware, thanks for spreading the word, Sue, and we're trying to do our part, we'll add that message to the reader board. A reminder of our November meeting, it's on the Tuesday, the 26th, which is the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. And then that Thanksgiving Day on the 28th, we have our annual turkey trot. We have 94 people registered already, which is a pretty good clip, considering we're around a month out, I guess, a month yesterday. We have a lot of, week out day of registration.
So we passed your goals.
So, we've already chosen our shirt, we got our route, locked in, and all we need now is just another one of those beautiful Thanksgiving sunny days.
Well, now you jinxed it.
No.
I didn't. It doesn't work like that.
It sure does.
In November here, I think the weather is going to be, anyways,
Would you stop?
December, a reminder, no board
Wait
meeting.
until tomorrow.
Okay.
And then 2 other things I didn't put here. One is the district has long-standing had a temporary benefit offered to all employees of participating in the election. And so what we do, and I brought mine as a sample, if a employee completes their election, what's it called? Fills out their ballot, yes, and signs it and seals it, and then sends it to a designated member of the administrative team, they will get a small benefit for doing that. And we're really trying to encourage our voters, especially since we have a large percentage of younger voters.
So what are we doing again exactly?
did you get a picture of it?
If they vote, they're getting rewarded?
Correct. Yeah,
Is that legal?
it is legal, because we're not telling them who to vote for.
I don't know.
You just got that thing about Elon Musk
Yeah.
giving $1 million to a person.
Yeah.
If
If they vote.
they're registered to vote.
Right, if they're
Different than Elon Musk.
Well,
I mean, it
I
became,
appreciate the sentiment, and I know we've done it for a long time. I think we might,
Sue, too.
yeah,
And
want to look into that.
I wanna add that there's
I don't
an
understand.
encouragement not to mail your ballot. One of the, I don't know if you were there for that meeting at the chamber, easy shipping
I
and
know,
drop-off
yeah,
said
yeah.
what's happening is when you mail it, sometimes the mail turns it around and it'll come back to you. Because you've written your address, if you've got a change or something on the back of the ballot, so they're encouraging you to drop it off.
I mailed mine today.
Okay. Well, and then, unrelated to that, I shared this in an email, but just wanted to share, and recognize, Lou Newbecker, who was, a member of our budget committee, a member of the Bob Chisholm Community Center Commission, a member of the Seaside Planning Commission, you know, a volunteer and leader with the American Legion, passed away about a week ago, and, we will definitely be missed as a really amazing person that a lot of people in Seaside looked up to and counted on for his dependability and his strong opinions and perspectives, and I got to interact with Lou in a bunch of different ways, and I always appreciated those interactions. So our thoughts go,
Services tomorrow at 10.
yeah, our thoughts go out to Lou's wife, Bev, and their family, and so.
Thanks, Tyler.
Services are tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 10 at the
Where?
Catholic
What
Church.
page?
All right, board comments, Celeste. Maybe not.
You're on mute, Celeste.
All right, board comment, Kyle.
A couple of things. First, nice work, Betty. I'm sorry you weren't here, but we appreciate hearing everything about your accomplishments for the last month. Bob Keeper, that was a good exercise. I'm glad you did that. Skylar, thanks for setting that up. But really, Erin is awesome, and her programs are awesome. And if we could bottle that, I think we'd be in heaven, because what the benefit she's given to the community as well as to those individual kids is just really, really important. So that's basically it. Election day is 1 week from today. If you haven't voted yet, I encourage you to vote. If you're an elected official, good luck to you, and I hope you listen to your constituents.
Kyle, Sue.
Gosh, I could just say ditto, because but I want to add Skylar in that list of, I'm grateful for your leadership, I'm grateful for, I mean, Betty, I have known as an employee for, you know, as long as she's worked here, because I remember introducing myself to her and she to me, and she's been, I mean, when I couldn't lock this door, Betty's the one that came over. And I mean, she said, hey, I wasn't ready to leave, but close. So, I mean, I'm just little things like that I'm very grateful to know her. And then you know, grateful, I'm sorry I missed, you know, almost 45 minutes of Bob's presentation, but thankful for him. And, Erin, I can't say enough good things about her. When I was kind of encroaching on, doing my walk, she was always making sure to protect the kids, and I got to see her in action with the kids, and I am in awe of her abilities and what she has produced for our community. I do also want to encourage all to vote. I think it's an interesting caution that we receive some information about being careful about mailing your ballot, because it may wind up coming back to you rather than being counted. And I think the source is a credible one. So, but I don't mail my ballot anyway, I turn it in. And I think, you know, the process, I think it's always important to peel back the layers of what we see on the surface, you know, of how do we work and explain it and figure it out, and always look for areas of improvement and areas that we can pat ourselves on the back. And I think this is something that I wish we'd been doing, you know, 10 years ago, you know, or 5 years ago, when we had such, you know, crazy situations that I applaud Skylar for hanging in there. And I think that the staff, I think it's interesting to listen to people going, I didn't know we were shutting down. It's like, you just heard this instructor saying what, you know. So anyway, I think, you know, we do our best to communicate and just reinforce and continue the communication opportunities, because I think every complaint is a gift. You've heard me say that I don't know how many times, but I really do believe that, showing the people that bring a complaint to us how good we respond, that we do listen, I think we lead by example. You don't have to hear words, you can see that we are doing actions that allow you to know you are being heard and that we are helping to make things better. And I think our community, many people already understand that, but I don't think that message can be, given more, I don't think it's, how am I trying to say this? I think that what we offer, this gem, this hub, this, core of a community, I think we can never, we're not overstating the benefit that we offer to our community. And I'm very glad to be part of that. Thank you.
Mike?
Sue, you are a gift. Anyway, that being said, I wanted to, bring the attention of the board. I think the board would be very proud of our executive director, Scott Archibald, and his performance as ORPA president for the last year. I can see from my visit to Sun River through ORPA last week that he contributed mightily to the success of that event. And it was completely sold out. It had great vendor presentations, many social opportunities. It's very good. I know he will remain on the board of directors as past president the next year, but I think his leadership contributed a great deal to ORPA this last year. Let's see, what else I want to say? Well, different points of Sun River. I wanted to mention, I thought there was interesting points made, the mental health idea, bringing that into community centers. There's a lot of attention being brought on mental health in the community, and with drug problems and everything else. I went to the aquatics section, and I was surprised to hear that not a single park district submitted for any awards for aquatics. So there were no commendations or requests for awards for a lifeguard that saved a life, for instance. No applications. Certainly I didn't see an app. It must not have been one from our district, but I was surprised to hear that. But I was also had the question about whether or not, they made some comments on risk management about compliance with lifeguard chairs, and setbacks and heights and so on. And I think Spencer Rockwell mentioned that there was some enforcement of that, and I was hoping we were compliant with that. I'm not sure of the exact details, I can't remember it. Anyway, that's just kind of generally, where it's at for me lately. I think it's a great meeting. I think Aaron has done a terrific job for us and our community as well.
Hey, thanks for representing the board.
I voted.
I'm very grateful for you, Mike.
I'll wait.
Is Celeste back yet?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm here, but you hear, action is not very.
Okay, board comment, go. Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's just, apologies that my connection is bad. Thank you all for allowing me to be remote and listen in. And, I just think we made a lot of great progress. And I just gotta say, I'm really proud of our group. Like when we did our assessment, that process, it just really highlights all the great, progress we've made as a team. So thank you.
I would like to very quickly say thank you to Bob Kiefer. I thought that was actually really a great session. Introspectively looking at how we function as a district and a board, I think is always good. So, transparency, look forward to seeing his report and suggestions. I would like to applaud the board on seeing the end product for the Broadway Field, for seeing a goal in sight for our strategic plan. I think those are two huge things that we had on our plate for many a year. So we're getting closer, and that's off for more great things. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Congratulations to Betty on being Employee of the Month. And I would like to second Kyle's comments about Erin. Their youth programs are just phenomenal, and Erin has just elevated them to a whole nother level, and it's such a need in our community, as we all know. And so thank you to Erin for all she does, and her team. As we know, it's not just Erin, but all of the folks under her. And with that, we will say, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.